I'll never forget the silence that hit the moment he walked in. Not the kind of hush that comes from fear or awe, not the kind that means something dramatic's about to happen, but that old, cold quiet you get when someone steps into a space they're not supposed to fill. There were no alarms, no voices raised, just eyes following him, weighing every step, every inch of confidence he wore in that first-class cabin like armor, except the only thing he really carried was the wrong skin in the wrong room. You know what I mean? Folks didn't have to say it. Their stares said plenty. The flight crew, the businessmen with their slick watches, the lady clutching her handbag a little tighter, all of them watched Langston Miles walk down that aisle like he was some kind of mistake they weren't sure how to fix. Thing is, none of them, not a soul, knew the kind of fire they were about to unleash. See, that man they pegged as background? He was the fuse, and what he was about to light would burn down more than just their quiet comfort. This story, it's not just about racism, it's about what happens when justice moves slow and silent, like water cutting through stone. It started with humiliation, but it ended with a kind of reckoning I wish everyone could see. Langston boarded Skylar Flight 298 like he belonged because he did. Navy blazer, crisp collar, shoes polished to a mirror shine, the kind of calm that comes from working for what you've got and knowing you've earned it. But the moment he stepped into first class, the whole vibe soured. Lead flight attendant Deidre gave him that look, you know, the one in, quietly radioed her team, calling him suspicious. Her voice barely above a whisper, but you could hear the edge. Two folks up front stopped talking mid-sentence, glancing at Langston with a stare that said, "Who let you in here?" Langston found his seat too, agave a polite nod to the woman across the aisle, got nothing back but a frown. Around him, it was a usual crowd, the kind that treats first class like their living room, briefcases on the floor, champagne in hand. He slipped his bag in the overhead, settled inanely for Deidre to swoop in with a syrupy smile. "Excuse me, sir, could you please remove your hoodie?" Langston blinked, confused as wearing a blazer, not a hoodie. "Ma'am, this is a sports jacket," he says, trying to keep it cool. She pushes back, claims there's a policy about no hooded garments in first class. Never mind the white guy behind Langston, hoodie and all, sipping champagne like nothing's wrong. Deidre won't even look his way. Langston checks his collar again. No hood, just the smooth lining of a tailored coat. He tries to reason with her, keeps his voice low, but she doubles down, threatens to check his reservation. He shows her his ticket again, seat 2A, but she walks off, poking her tablet, making him stand there with his blazer in hand, exposed and surrounded by people who won't even pretend to look away. A woman whispers to her boyfriend, trying to sneak into first class, probably. Langston's jaw sets, but he says nothing. Deidre comes back, face tight as boarding pass is valid. She almost seems disappointed. He sits, stomach in knots, as the guy in the hoodie gets a fresh glass of wine and a plate of snacks, while Langston gets handed a bottle of water, no glass, no napkin, no refills either. He presses the call button, but nobody comes. Time drips by, every little gesture making it clear he's not welcome, not in their eyes. Another flight attendant, young, blonde, too friendly by half, pretends to check the cart, but is really filming Langston on his phone. The red record light, a dead giveaway. He knows better than to react, though keeps his eyes forward, back straight, swallowing down every insult. Across the aisle, a middle-aged man leans in for a selfie, making sure Langston's in the shot, then laughs with his wife about the audacity. Someone jokes, he's probably a YouTuber trying to sue. Laughter spreads. Deidre floats past, grinning like she's already won. But Langston's made of something harder. He's been collecting evidence for months, documenting discrimination on this airline, waiting for a moment just like this. Eventually, Deidre returns, mask of professionalism gone. "Mr. Miles, I'll need you to come with us," she says, her voice cold. Two security men in airline polos and tactical pants show up. Langston asks if he's being detained. "We're escorting you to a secure seat for passenger safety," the taller one says, gripping Langston's arm so tight it leaves a bruise. Phones go up, people recording, some even cheering as he's marched down the aisle, past the galley, where Deidre and the young attendant laugh over a message on her tablet. Potential lawsuit bait. They buckle Langston into a jump seat near the galley, say he'll be met by airport security upon landing. All the while, voices float in from the cabin. He probably forged the ticket. You can't buy class, and more, each one a cut he has to swallow in silence. Over the intercom, Deidre announces to the cabin that a passenger has been relocated due to a dress code violation. The lie lands heavy. People clap, laugh, offer mock toasts. Langston sits, nails digging into his palms, refusing to break. But here's the twist. What they didn't realize was that Langston had been recording every moment, every word. The minute they left him alone in the terminal, barefoot, blazer wrinkled, shame burning hot, he uploaded the full unedited video. No hashtags, no callouts, just the truth. This is how they treat us. No hoodie. No problem. Still removed. Watch it happen. Within minutes, the video spread like wildfire. Journalists, lawyers, activists, everyone picked it up. His name trended, his story broadcast on airport TVs before he'd even finished catching his breath. And then came the real shock. Langston Miles wasn't just a passenger, was a silent investor. One of the people negotiating a multi-billion-dollar deal to expand that very airline. The moment he went live, calmly explaining who he was and why he'd been there, the mood in the terminal flipped. He announced the deal was off, all investments withdrawn, and federal complaints filed. The boardroom panic bled into headlines. EO resigns, staff suspended, protests organized outside corporate offices. It didn't stop there. The floodgates opened. Dozens of black travelers came forward with their stories. Lawsuits followed, policies changed, and for once, it felt like the world was listening. Even Deidre, stripped of her old confidence, showed up at a public forum months later, eyes raw, voice trembling. She faced Langston, admitted her own bias, begged to be part of the healing instead of the harm. Langston handed her a brochure for a new program, Gatekeepers of Training, that brought former offenders into the conversation. Not to shame, but to teach accountability and empathy. No big applause, just a deep, collective breath as the room understood something had shifted. Langston left that night knowing justice isn't just punishment, it's transformation, choosing to rebuild from the broken places. As he walked out into the quiet Atlanta dusk, he felt the weight lift, not just from his shoulders, but from a world that, for a moment, chose to look inward and listen. If this story struck a chord with you, hit like, subscribe, and join the conversation below. Which moment hit you hardest? Was justice really served? I want to hear where you stand. Drop a comment, and let's talk about what it means to truly belong.